The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent. Too silent. The walls of the hall stretched high, glowing with silver light. Every seat was filled by leaders of alien worlds, each one older than stars, each one used to commanding galaxies. Yet today, their voices shook. No one wanted to speak first. At the center of the chamber, the great table burned with a hologram. It showed a battle. Not just any battle. It was the fall of the Void Swarm. Billions of black ships, endless like shadows, had attacked. No world had ever beaten them. No empire had ever survived their hunger. Yet the recording played the impossible. The swarm burned. The swarm died. And the ones who destroyed them were not mighty empires. Not ancient powers. Not the council itself. It was humanity. The scene showed human ships, fragile compared to the monsters they fought. Their fleets were small, their weapons crude. But the swarm fell, one burning nest after another. Humans threw everything, ships, fire, even their own lives. The more they lost, the harder they fought. Until the impossible became real. The Void Swarm was gone. Humanity stood alive. A whisper moved through the chamber. They should not have won. They were weak. Divided. How can a young race defeat that? The council did not understand. For ages, they had looked at Earth with pity. Humans were chaotic, loud, emotional. They fought among themselves more than they fought enemies. Their world was scarred by wars, their history drenched in blood. By the council's judgment, humanity was destined to destroy itself. But the recording told another truth. Humans had done what no ancient power had dared. They faced extinction and said no. The eldest member of the council, a being of crystal and light, finally spoke. His voice rang like breaking glass. Perhaps we should not have ignored them. Perhaps we should have stopped them earlier. A cold silence followed. Across the table, a scaled leader hissed. Stopped them? You mean fear them? They are insects compared to us. Yet even he could not hide the tremor in his tone. Because the truth was clear, insects did not kill the swarm. Suddenly, alarms flashed across the chamber walls. A new transmission. Urgent. Direct. Every eye turned as the hologram shifted. The image of battle vanished. A new figure appeared, tall, human, standing alone. A council guard stepped forward. It is a message, he said. From Earth. The chamber froze. The message played. The figure's voice was steady, sharp, carrying through the hall. I am the representative of humanity. We demand to speak before the council. Not tomorrow. Not in a century. Now. Gasps filled the chamber. No species had ever demanded audience with the council. The council commanded. The council judged. To hear such words from a young race was unthinkable. The crystal leader whispered, almost to himself. Do they not understand what they are speaking to? But in the shadow of the chamber, one of the younger delegates murmured back. Perhaps it is we who do not understand what we are speaking to. The words lingered. Heavy. Dangerous. Because behind the arrogance, behind the fear, one truth grew stronger in every heart. Humanity had survived what no one else had. And now, they were coming. The chamber lights dimmed, as though the hall itself felt the weight of the message. Leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some whispered of war. Some whispered of control. But most whispered only one word. Humanity. The crystal leader finally raised his hand. The whispers stopped. His voice was low, almost a whisper itself, but the fear inside it was clear. Summon them, he said. And in that moment, the great council, rulers of the galaxy, admitted something no one had dared say before. They were afraid. The doors of the chamber opened. A path was cleared. And for the first time in history, humanity would step into the heart of the galaxy. Not as servants, not as victims, but as something new. Something the galaxy had not prepared for. The great doors of the council chamber opened. Every alien leader turned their eyes toward the entrance. And there he was. A single human walked forward. No soldiers. No guards. No escorts. Just one person, wearing a plain dark suit. His steps echoed through the vast hall, steady and slow, as though he did not fear where he was. The guards of the council stiffened. Some reached for weapons. But the human did not look at them. His eyes moved only toward the center table, toward the powerful rulers of the galaxy. The silence was heavy. For a moment, the council almost believed this was a trick. Surely humanity would send fleets, armies, a show of force. But no. Only one man stood before them, calm as a stone. Finally, the scaled leader hissed loudly, his voice breaking the silence. "Do you mock us, human? You dare stand here alone? Do you think you are equal to the council?" The human stopped walking. He looked at the scaled creature and gave a small smile, cold, sharp, dangerous. "Equal," the human said. "No. Not equal. Different." The word different echoed strangely in the chamber. It was not arrogance, not weakness. It was something else. Something none of them could read. The crystal leader leaned forward, his glowing form flickering. "You are reckless. You spread conflict wherever you go. You break rules. You cannot be trusted." The human did not bow, did not look down, did not apologize. His voice was steady. "You call it reckless," he said. "We call it survival." Murmurs spread through the council. For centuries, survival had been their language too. But the way the human said it made them uneasy. As though survival was not enough. As though survival meant more. The holotable flickered again, showing scenes of war. Human ships burning in fire. Soldiers fighting hand to hand in shattered corridors. Cities falling, yet people rising again. The scaled leader spat. "Look at them. Desperate. Chaotic. They throw themselves to death as if they enjoy it. They are nothing but savages." But another voice, thin and quiet, came from a shadowed corner of the chamber. "And yet, they win." The silence that followed was heavier than steel. The human stepped closer. His footsteps echoed like thunder. "You sit in this chamber and call us reckless," he said, voice calm. "But when the swarm came for you, where were your fleets? Where were your sacrifices? We fought when others hid. We stood when others ran." The words stabbed. Because deep inside, every council member knew it was true. When the swarm rose, many worlds chose silence. Many chose to look away. Only humanity had refused to kneel. The insectoid leader clicked angrily. "Do you threaten us now? Do you believe you can command this council?" The human paused. He looked at them all, dozens of powerful rulers, each with armies that could crush planets. Yet he did not tremble. His voice was quiet but sharper than any blade. "Threaten," he said. "No. We do not threaten." He stopped, letting the silence stretch, letting fear grow in the hearts of the rulers. "We promise." The words dropped into the chamber like a stone into deep water. Simple. Direct. But every alien felt the weight behind them. It was not an empty sound. It was a warning written in blood and fire. The crystal leader leaned back, his light flickering uncertainly. He could feel something no one else wished to admit. This human was not just speaking for himself. He carried the will of billions. He carried the fire of a species that had refused extinction. The council chamber, for the first time in its long history, felt small. The scaled leader tried to speak again, but his voice broke into a whisper. "If they rise, if they unite, nothing will hold them." The human gave no answer. He simply stood there, silent, letting their own fear finish the sentence. And in that silence, every leader of the galaxy understood one truth they had long denied. Humanity was no longer asking for a place in the stars. They were taking it. The council chamber remained heavy with silence after the human's last words. His promise still hung in the air, like smoke after fire. No one dared speak first. Finally, the insectoid leader broke the quiet, his voice sharp and clicking. You dare stand here, as if you are more than a child among giants. You forget where you are. We are the Council. Our fleets burn stars. Our weapons crush moons. You are nothing but a single world. The human turned his gaze toward the insectoid, calm, unshaken. A single world, he repeated softly. Then his voice grew harder. And yet we survived what you all feared to face. Murmurs moved through the chamber like waves. Some leaders shifted uneasily. Others whispered in anger. But none could deny the truth. The crystal leader raised his hand, and the room grew still again. His voice rang like cold glass. If you believe survival makes you powerful, you are mistaken. You are reckless, fragile, unpredictable. A danger not only to your enemies, but to your allies as well. Humanity must be controlled before you spread your fire to the stars. At that, the human's expression changed. For the first time, there was no smile, no calm mask. Only a sharp edge of anger. Controlled. His voice cut across the hall. You think we can be chained? You think we will kneel to those who hid while we bled? The words slammed into the chamber. Some leaders flinched. Others hissed in fury. But the human did not stop. His voice grew louder, each word striking like thunder. You feared the swarm. You did nothing. You watched, waiting for someone else to fall. But we, humanity, stood in the fire. And now, because of that, others see us. Others listen. Others follow. The scaled leader narrowed his golden eyes. Follow? What do you mean, human? The hollow table flickered again. New images appeared. Not just human fleets, but ships marked with the symbols of other young species. Small, fragile civilizations that had always been ignored, crushed, or silenced by the Council. Now they flew beside human ships. Whispers exploded around the chamber. They are uniting. Impossible. How dare they? The human spoke again, his tone cold and steady. You call us reckless. But to those who have been forgotten, we are hope. They see that we fight, even when no one stands with us. They see that we rise, even when the galaxy tells us to fall. And they come. Not because we force them, but because they choose to. The insectoid leader slammed his claws against the table. This is rebellion. You would bring war to the stars. The human's eyes narrowed. No. We bring choice. The chamber shook with arguments. Some shouted for war. Others demanded diplomacy. A few, silent and pale, realized the truth. Humanity had already changed the balance. The crystal leader's voice cut through the noise once more. If what you say is true, then you are more dangerous than the swarm itself. The swarm was mindless. You are not. You spread fire with intent. The human leaned forward slightly. No, he said softly. We spread fire with purpose. A chilling silence fell. The words were simple, but they carried a weight the Council had never felt before. Fire with intent could be stopped. Fire with purpose could not. The scaled leader whispered, almost to himself. If we strike them now, before they grow stronger, perhaps we can end this. But another alien, one of the younger delegates, shook her head quickly. Strike them. Do you not see? That is what will ignite everything. Kill one human, and you will wake the fury of millions. Strike Earth, and the fire will consume the stars. The council chamber split with fear and uncertainty. Some argued for war. Some argued for surrender. And others, for the first time in their long history, simply stayed silent, unable to decide. The human let them argue. He stood still, his hands behind his back, his expression calm once again. But inside that calm was something more dangerous. Confidence. When the noise finally died, the human spoke only one sentence. You think we are a threat. But you have not yet seen what humanity truly is. And with that, he stepped back into silence, letting his words settle like a storm cloud above them. Every leader in the chamber felt the same cold truth. If they moved against humanity now, they might not just fight a single world. They might fight an idea. And ideas were far harder to kill. The council chamber was no longer calm. Voices clashed across the hall, louder than thunder. Some demanded war. Others cried for peace. A few whispered of surrender. The once great council, rulers of 1,000 worlds, now sounded like frightened children trapped in the dark. And through it all, the human stood silently in the center. One figure. Alone. Unmoved. The scaled leader slammed his claw against the table, silencing the noise for a moment. His golden eyes burned with fury. Enough of this. We will not bow to a species that crawled into the stars yesterday. They are reckless, unstable. If they will not kneel, then we will crush them before they grow any stronger. The chamber shook with agreement from some, but others looked away. Deep inside, they knew it was not that simple. Humanity had already proven what none of them could deny. They fought in ways no one else dared. The crystal leader turned his glowing form toward the human. His voice rang like breaking glass, hard but trembling underneath. Speak plainly, human. Enough riddles. Do you threaten this council? Do you threaten the galaxy itself? The entire chamber fell silent. Every leader leaned forward. Every guard gripped their weapon. The human slowly stepped forward. His footsteps echoed through the vast hall, sharp and deliberate. He looked at the faces around him, beings of light, scale, crystal, shadow, creatures older than Earth's sun. And yet, they waited for his words. His voice was calm, almost too calm. No, he said. We do not threaten. A wave of relief passed through some of the leaders. A few leaned back in their seats, whispering. Perhaps there was still a chance to contain this. But the human was not finished. His eyes grew colder, his tone sharper. We promise. The relief turned to ice. Every whisper died. Every eye froze on the human. He continued, his words slow, clear, each one landing like a hammer. Harm us once, and you will remember our name until the stars fade. Strike us, and you will understand what true survival means. We will not bow. We will not break. And if you force us, we will make sure the galaxy itself learns why you should have feared us sooner. The scaled leader opened his mouth to shout, but no sound came. His throat locked. His golden eyes flickered with something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. The crystal leader's glow dimmed. His voice was barely a whisper now. You threatened humanity? But it was not a question. It was an admission. Because in that moment, every leader understood, humanity was not begging for a seat at the table. Humanity was warning them of what would come if the galaxy pushed too far. The human said nothing more. He simply turned, his footsteps echoing again as he walked toward the massive chamber doors. The guards shifted nervously but did not stop him. None dared move. The doors opened with a deep groan. Light from the outer halls spilled into the chamber. The human stepped through, his figure swallowed by shadow, leaving the rulers of the galaxy in silence. No one spoke for a long time. The council, ancient and proud, had faced monsters, plagues, and wars. But never had they been left so quiet by a single voice. Finally, the insectoid leader whispered, his mandibles trembling. If they rise, nothing will hold them. Another voice, weaker, followed. They already have. And so the whispers spread, echoing through the chamber like ghosts. Leaders who once commanded galaxies now spoke like frightened children in the dark. The words repeated, softer each time, until they were no longer questions, only fear itself given sound. You threatened humanity? But the truth was darker still. Humanity had not threatened them at all. Humanity had promised.